Yeah. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the DNB podcast. Now, before we get into the introductions, I do want to correct one thing. I know last episode I said it was episode 30. I was wrong. That was episode 29. This is episode 30. But I still mean everything I said in the last episode, so thank you all. But I go by the name of Camilo Salamander and my co-host KB the Mark.
Cause I'm a fucking mark for this shit.
Now we have the review of WWE Extreme Rules 2021. It wasn't Extreme, it was just WWE Rules 2021. So there, if we was really keeping tabs with everything, KB would have basically whooped my ass because I only got 2 predictions right and KB got 5. I got sweat, literally. But starting off with the kickoff show. Now, I've been saying countless of times that they need to do something with the kickoff show because the kickoff show is too long, it's too much talking, and there's less action. And this time, I think they was finally listening because it wasn't really that much talking, but I like certain points that was actually building up for, matches later on into the match, like into the night, like the Big E and New Day and Bobby Lashley, where he attacked Bobby Lashley backstage, and it was AJ and all them, and it set up the 6-way tag instead of just throwing that together like they'll normally do. But the first match of the kickoff show, the first and only match of the kickoff show that we had got, and the only match besides the 6-man tag that wasn't for a title, was Carmella versus Liv Morgan. Now, I was right about this one of Liv Morgan coming out with the win. Now, I really hope that she will be able to capitalize off of this and actually be able to develop a good run, and actually could be a future champion if everything goes right. I don't see why not. They need to be at the point now where they is building the next talent to take the belts off of Charlotte and Becky. Think about it. Those is kind of like, think about the women's roster now and look at the 4 horsewomen. They are what people look at John Cena and Triple H and all them now as the vets and shit like that. So it's time for them to be building up the next set of stars. And Liv Morgan is one of the female wrestlers that I would love to see get pushed to the top. But I'm gonna ask you too, if you had to grade this, what would it be? I would give it in between a C+ and a B-.
You already asking me to grade the match?
Yes.
Okay. If I'm grading the match, it's going to be, I'll agree with you, B-, maybe an 83. So not a solid B, but right underneath B-. It did what it needed to do. I'm actually glad that they gave it to Liv Morgan, because she just took the pinfall loss to Zelina Vega on Friday. So I'm glad they didn't reverse their decision and give it to Carmella, because we've seen so many times they reverse the decision last minute, and instead of giving the win to who needed it, they gave it to the other superstar, and it's just a questionable booking decision.
Well, we moving on to the match that was set up during the kickoff show, in the first match of WWE Rules. We have the New Day versus Bobby Lashley, the Almighty, and AJ Styles and Omos. Now, I'm gonna grade this a D, and only because Bobby took the fucking pin. But now for real, the match was like a high C+. But One spot I did like is, but I didn't wish it turned that way, is the spot where Bobby Lashley, he had it. He had the whole match. He was waiting to hit the spear. AJ tagged in, and then he was gonna hit the phenomenal forearm. Bobby got out, told him you better finish it. And then right before he did it, he tagged himself in. Now I think the only messed up thing about it, he came in too soon. If he would have waited a few more seconds, then came in, he would have got Big E. That's the only thing that messed up. He waited too soon, and it kind of seemed like Big E turned too soon too. Like I don't know if it was a spot that was supposed to happen or not, or if it was like supposed to go, because it felt like this match was supposed to go a little bit longer though. So I don't know if that was a spot that was supposed to happen, but they just went on with it because it was fucked up. But I mean, the match was good. It did lead into what we are going to get on Monday, which is the WWE Championship match, and I hope that rumors is not true and they going to air it at 8 o'clock and open up the show with it, because then that just means that the rest of the show gonna be ass, because this is the only thing that the show is really booked around, for one. For two, since this is happening, it's pretty much confirmed that Goldberg is gonna come back and he's gonna cost Bobby the match. Saudi Arabia is right around the corner, so the time is to do it. It's now to set it up. It's destined right now.
Yeah, Salamander. This was a A, not an A. This was a B+ match. B+. Love seeing the Unicorn Stampede. It's been so long since I've seen all three of the New Day do it, but I love that they didn't let the Almighty go through with the end. Yeah, he took the stomps, but as soon as they went to go for the sliding drop kick, he goes outside the ring. I thought Bobby Lashley looked phenomenal in this match. AJ Styles looked good. Kofi Kingston looked good. Big E looked good. Everybody in this match looked good. My problem with the match, like you, is why in the fuck did the Almighty take the pin? If you're just gonna run a WWE Championship match tonight, don't you think it would have been better for the Almighty to pin Xavier Woods? Since Xavier Woods has a clean pinfall win on him, he should pin Xavier Woods. That way he has a reason. Hey, I beat Xavier Woods. Now that's even more of a reason to set up the WWE Championship match for Monday, instead of just having the Almighty take a clean pinfall loss.
Or if it was destined for him to lose, they should have had him pin AJ Styles. That way you could have still cut that promo and say, you escaped from me, you didn't pin me, what you got over when you cashed in, you knew I was hurt, so you got me half-ass or whatever. Do that Monday. Fight me one-on-one. You never had a chance to fight me one-on-one clean. Do it Monday. That's how they should have did it, versus having him take the pinfall loss. And then that way, when what happens on Monday when Goldberg interferes, he can, after he get done with Goldberg, and then if they're gonna still set up a Bobby and Big E, he can say, you still never fought me one-on-one cleanly. So there's still something that they can give build up to and everything. But it's WWE, and one thing I always say about WWE, booking
is ass backwards. Don't make no goddamn sense. Ultimately the number one contender to the WWE Championship got pinned by the WWE Champion. Why do I want to see that match one-on-one now? He done already took a clean pinfall loss to me. I walk in knowing that the Almighty is going to take a pinfall loss on Monday. And it probably will not be clean. You're right, Goldberg will show his face, I'm pretty sure. My biggest problem is, I guarantee you, they do, because this is the main event. They're running it first, but I guarantee you it's the main event. Which means there'll be some type of shenanigans first that isn't Goldberg. And then he'll show up in the main event.
Like they did last Monday where they told us it was going to be the Hurt Business, not the Hurt Business, but Bobby and them versus, you know, the one. Not the one, but you know what I mean, the Bloodline. But they end up being BS. No, it was the New Day. The New Day versus the Bloodline. They end up being BS, and that's how we end up getting later on the Triple Threat, which is what they really wanted to book.
Right.
It's gonna be something like that in the beginning. You're thinking it's gonna be like they're gonna set up the match, but probably New Day gonna get involved in some way, which gonna lead into the setup later on. I could see that. It's believable. I mean, it ain't like WWE ain't did the same thing twice before.
I mean, it's just weird because you haven't announced the main event, but yet you're saying the WWE Championship is going to be the opening act. I mean, it's just like Bobby Lashley when he cashed in. They ran that all night. They ran that story all night until Bobby Lashley got the Miz in a lumberjack match. I have no doubt that the WWE Championship match is the main event.
Yeah, I'm still mad that he cashed in so soon. He didn't even hold the Money in the Bank for 2 months.
Can't say that I'm surprised. It was already in the cards. They said it was going to happen draft night. So,
but if you think about it, my fault. Go ahead.
I was going to say they said it was going to happen draft night. So really, he's a week away. He would be in his last 7 days anyway.
You think about it so far. Do you think he lived up to it, even though it's only been a week, maybe 2?
Big E?
Yes.
No, I don't think the cash-in should have happened. Like I said on the review, you're only a first-time champion once. That moment should be special. Not a random cash-in on a Monday Night Raw that couldn't even garner a 180.
So far with the booking that they've been doing, you think it's wise decisions, or you think it's going to be like another Kofi situation where he's just a transitional champion until they find who they want to put the champion belt on next?
No, I think he's the guy. I think he's the guy they wanted. As of right now, they weren't. I don't think they're doing a good job, because if you think about it, he started off his first 2 days as champion 1 and 2. He won a tag team match with Finn Balor on SmackDown, lost the tag team match on Monday Night Raw with the New Day, and then lost in a triple threat match. No, he didn't take the pinfall in those losses. He was still part of the losing team. So your first 3 matches as WWE champion, you go 1 and 2. It doesn't make any sense. And the thing is, that's Raw's top title. That's the number 2 title underneath the Universal. So why can't the WWE champion be booked like a champion? It goes back to the almighty WWE champion Bobby Lashley. Why is he taking a pinfall loss to Xavier Woods?
It just goes to show you that WWE don't know how to handle 2 main titles. They don't know how to book them correctly.
Yeah, I mean, they also did the same thing with Drew McIntyre, though. It's like, with Drew McIntyre, they overexposed, which is bad booking within itself. But then they went to new heights with the Almighty, and now with Big E. And you know what? It might be true. WWE just might not know how to book baby faces. I don't think they do.
Actually, yeah, makes sense. I mean, unless you like somebody like John Cena that like really caters to the kids. Yeah, just for example, like I say this every time. If you're a main title holder like that, you need to be serious. Like, I did not take Kofi title run serious at all. Why? Because he was still out there skipping, throwing pancakes. Each match that he had that was for the belt, I went in there being like going for I wasn't really going for his opponent, but I was like, I won't be surprised if he lose. It was one of those, because I'm like, I didn't take him serious and stuff. I'll tell you, Kofi, he didn't make me tune in on Fridays. I could tell you that. Hell, I tuned in when he dropped the title the first night on Fox to Brock Lesnar, even though I knew Brock Lesnar wasn't gonna be there next week. I still was tuning in every week. He, like, just like now, Big E ain't making me tune into Raw. The Almighty was. I'll watch and see my dude and I'll leave because the rest of the show was ass. But nah, I mean, I'll tune in. I mean, hopefully this Friday the draft will be better. We can get some good people on Raw. That way, you know, both shows will be a good balance. And then hopefully, that's what I'm really hoping. I got my fingers crossed that Friday and then next Monday will actually be a change for WWE, and they will actually make the change that they see needed. And then from there, they can basically start over. They can start everything over from the draft. It's a refresher. They're wrapping up their storylines and stuff. So they only announced the Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns for the Saudi Arabia. Everything else really haven't been announced yet. And the reason why is because the draft is Friday and next Monday. So then they be setting their rosters and everybody be set their storylines and they next few matches going into that pay-per-view so they can set up for the big pay-per-view, which is in time for Survivor Series, which we all know we about to get the traditional Survivor Series right now. But I just wish if it's gonna be a brand split, keep it a brand split for one. For two, if you drafted to the show, I want to see what it was in early 2000s. I want to see that brand supremacy. Like, you was glad to be on SmackDown. Like, if you was SmackDown, you rap you cry, blood, tears, everything was SmackDown. Same thing with Raw. Like, you rap whatever show you was on and stuff. If y'all was both at a pay-per-view, Raw and SmackDown was both at a pay-per-view and stuff, and you see a Raw guy backstage, you talking shit. And so I wish it would go back to them days. They would actually make it like, man, what show you watch? Man, I watch SmackDown. I don't even watch Raw like how it was back then. Like, it was like even the fans had it like, if you watch Raw, it was But then it need to go back to there. Like, Raw was always like, to me, I was always a SmackDown guy. For one, SmackDown came on free TV. And then but it was like Raw was always like that bougie stuff. Like, for one, it was on cable, so it was always came off as bougie and for real. And then some they bounced back and forth from 3 hours to 2 hours, but the fact that it came on at 9 and then it go out to 11 as most times and everything, and SmackDown be gone by 10 o'clock. So it kind of gave off like, oh, that's bougie, but it's like on SmackDown, you got matches, you got wrestling and all this stuff, even back in like 2006, 2007, 2008 and everything. I really wish it would go back to that. And I'm hoping that the draft will be the beginning of something new, because Lord knows they need it. They need it.
Agreed.
Man. But moving on to one of the matches that's potentially match of the night. We have the SmackDown tag team titles, the Usos versus the Street Profits. Now, I'm giving this match it's a fucking A. It's a fucking A. This match is good. There was one moment that I did think that, the Street Profits was gonna take it all, but I mean, after a while, like when they got Angelo Dawkins out the ring, and they just kept beating up on Montez Ford, and after the stuff that he took on Friday, I knew it was a wrap then. As long as they could keep Angelo Dawkins away and keep Montez in the ring, it was a wrap from there. But I mean, they did what they had to do. Shit, they showing what a fucking tag is supposed to be and how a fucking tag team supposed to run a division the proper way. Period.
Salamander.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Was that an AEW tag team match?
It sure do seem like it didn't.
What the fuck was that?
Everything was perfect about this match. I have nothing like, I was against the Bloodline forever, but I ain't even got nothing bad to say about this match.
This fucking tag team match was A+. A fucking plus. I walked out more impressed with Angelo Dawkins than I have been, and I was already high on Angelo Dawkins. I believe he's gonna be he could thrive as in the singles in that mid card division. Definitely can see him as a United States Intercontinental Champion, maybe even getting a World Championship every now and again. Because we all know Montez Ford is a star. But Angelo Dawkins thoroughly impressed me just with how he was working, his selling. I never realized how good of a seller the Street Profits are. They can sell their ass off. Did you see the superplex into the twisting neckline? Did you see Montez Ford do one of his patented dives over the turnbuckle?
Yo.
The frog splash that looks like he came from the heavens.
He always he one of the ones that, if not, I think he is the highest to get high on a frog splash. I don't think anybody else who performed the frog splash get high like he did.
No,
not even RVD.
Nobody. The sheer heights he get is outstanding. But the difference with he can contort his body. We've seen him do frog splashes where he's turned the complete opposite direction. And I'm like, well, how the fuck did you do that?
Yes.
Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins were phenomenal in this match. And like you, they got me a couple of times. The blockbuster, the Avalanche blockbuster, the Doomsday blockbuster, that was good. Just all of the double team moves that the Street Profits were doing was just, they were popping me. And when the Usos finally got the upper hand towards the end, you could kind of see it going. Like, yeah, they finally got it. The Street Profits put up a hell of a fight. But I'm glad that it was clean.
Yeah, there's a couple things that, you know, when it comes to these two teams, they would never put on a bad match ever. It's impossible. But one thing I would love to point out to you, KB, one thing about the Usos, they don't need help defending their titles like Roman. But we'll get into that later.
Hey man, it's a family. It's a family. Crime family like the Genovese, as the boy Drake says.
Alright, so we moving into the next match, and to me, this is the most hype but most disappointing match of the night to me. We have Charlotte Flair versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship match. Excuse me. But this match, I was so disappointed. For one, you called it out, WWE. If you're the hometown hero, you will never win. That is right. For two, it just now seems like since they let go of Bray Wyatt, it seemed like they how they try to die down on her powers now. Now it just seems like she's just Alexa Bliss in cosplay. It don't even seem like, you know, all the spooky stuff about her character went away. And stuff, like she was just wrestling like normal. So even like the thing about it, if her whole thing was basically that she needed to be possessed, she didn't show no type of possession at all. Like she didn't like, you know, the Fiend. When he's Bray Wyatt, you know, he get beat up, but when he was the Fiend, like you close on him, he fall on the ground, he get back up. Like he had some type of strength about him and stuff. And since he's possessed with whatever, you know, the Fiend had or whatever the case was, she should have had some type of power to her, which she didn't have. And I kind of felt like that really hurt her character more. They was trying to really focus on all the supernatural stuff versus her character build up and what she can do. They didn't even build no type of intimidation for her. So when she come to the ring, nobody was scared of her. Bray Wyatt came to the ring, people were scared. She came to the ring, it was like, all right, and stuff like, and I think that really fell apart when, you know, Eva Marie just basically picked up Lily. Like everybody else is getting presented, they never addressed that at all. And now for Lily just to get ripped up and everything, and then she boxed the stuff that was supposed to happen at the end. I guess she was supposed to have something come out her mouth. That was botched. I mean, they had her in the ring crying over a doll at this point. I mean, like I said, I think this match was hype. hyped up because I was thinking that we was gonna get like some type of like Fiend interaction type thing, like not really with him, but like how it was when how his matches was when he became as the Fiend. It was for a title and stuff. Like it was some type of spooky shit that happened, but it made sense type of stuff. But I was thinking for some type of that. It was just a regular match, and all she had on was like fucking makeup and dressing as like gothic, but that was it. It wasn't no type of anything to her. Like one thing different too is that what they was talking about Bray Wyatt and the Fiend. They ain't he was the Fiend or Bray Wyatt. Like once he made that transition to the Fiend, they never really bought up his cult antics with the Wyatt family like that. With her supposed to be this new character and everything, they keep bringing up Twisted Bliss, Little Miss Bliss. Like she ain't supposed to be Little Miss Bliss no more. She's this new character and stuff. That's like Randy Orton being the Viper, but I still call him the Legend Killer, and making reference back to his Evolution days and stuff. It kind of debunks of what they're trying to build now. So it make you as the viewer not to take this one as serious. And I wasn't into this character at all. I hope after what happened with Lily getting ripped up and everything, I hope that this is the end. I hope this is some type of character change. I hope they're taking off TV for a little bit. That way they can figure out what they're going to do. Because I don't want to see that character anymore. I mean, if y'all not going to make it where it's supposed to be at, don't show it.
Went on quite a tirade there.
Yes.
So what did you grade it? Because you never said what you graded it.
It's a C. It's a C.
It's
a C. It was the most hype. All these matches on here, except for the Roman Reigns match, I think this match was the most hype. Like even hyper than Becky and Bianca. Just for the fact, like Charlotte versus Alexa Bliss, like we supposed to get this. I'm thinking we supposed to get this character and stuff like that, like this Fiend-like female character, but no, we never got that at all. Since they've been giving us, the only weird thing that she done was that shit that she did to Randy Orton with that big ass box and shit like that. That was the only, when that shit was bleeding from her head, that was the only weird shit she ever done with this character, and that shit didn't make sense.
I want to touch on a couple things you said there, Salamander, because you said a lot. Where to start? One, I agree with what you were saying. Like if this is a new character that we need to get over, then we don't need to mention her past gimmicks of the 5 Feet of Fury, Little Miss Bliss. 2, why is she doing Twisted Bliss? That's not her move, or that's not this new character's move. Number 3, I already told you about the doll. The women who have touched Lily are too beautiful to be controlled. Lily only controls the less attractive person. In this case, woman, because women's division. It's the less attractive woman. She controlled Doudrop. She controlled Shayna. She controlled Nia. Like, bro, you see it. It's right there in writing, bro. They had Eva Marie fat shame Doudrop just last week. So is that, to you, is that far out of the realm of reality that Charlotte could pick her up, that Eva Marie could pick her up? Those are two superstars that WWE consider very attractive.
It makes sense in WWE terms. It really do.
The match for me, I'm gonna give it a B-. I'm a little bit higher on it than you. It did its job. Unfortunately, as I've said so many times, you will never win in your hometown if you're WWE. And the worst part about it is, Salamander, I have no doubt they'll run it back on Monday and Alexa Bliss will win the Raw Women's Championship. But because they were in Columbus, they will say that Little Miss Bliss couldn't get the dub because she was in her hometown. And unfortunately, that's quite upsetting, because how you can make moments by letting somebody win a title in their hometown. But you would rather the heel get the heat. See, this is what I don't understand about WWE. What's the point of letting the heel go over on the hometown hero if you're not going to be back in that same city for about 6 months to a year? If you're coming back next week, that makes sense. But if you are not going to be there for upwards of close to a year, why not send the crowd home happy that their hometown hero got over? Like, why did Bianca Belair not go over in her hometown? It makes no sense. Why can't Alexa Bliss win in her hometown? Why did Big E have to lose the IC belt in his hometown? Charlotte lost in her hometown. Sasha in her hometown. Bayley in her hometown. The list goes on. You don't win in your hometown. What's the problem?
It goes on for years.
Years. Like, what's the problem?
I guess WWE just feel like that's the only way to get you over as a babyface. Like you said, they don't know how to book babyfaces, so the only thing to them that makes sense for them to get over with it is to make you lose in your hometown. Then people will feel sorry for you.
But that's goofy. You could just give them a win. Like, the way you've been pushing Alexa Bliss, this win would have been great. She just pinned one of the most dominant women in WWE history to win a Raw Women's Championship in her hometown.
We could all kind of agree that this company is run by somebody who's very outdated and don't understand wrestling in 2021. Don't understand wrestling in the 21st century at all.
That's gotta be what it is, bro. Because I'm just sitting here like, you can make a moment.
Yeah,
you can make a moment that
all their moments. They miss it. They miss it.
Yeah, like, you could literally make a moment for a lifetime. It's stuff like this that I guarantee you that some of the wrestlers that left and went other places, like, yeah, man, losing in my hometown was just one of the worst things ever.
You want to know something that's worse than losing in your hometown?
What's that?
Losing on your birthday. That falls into the next match, even though he didn't lose on the birthday. So we don't know WWE, if it was your birthday, they will book you to win versus you being in your hometown. We got the U.S. title, Damien Priest versus Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus. Now, coming into this match, I was thinking that Jeff Hardy was going to take a pinfall for the loss. And that's the reason why. But it was actually Sheamus. And he won by the most devastating move. It's the roll-up. I don't agree with that. I mean, you can go either way with this. You can either go to pushing Jeff Hardy and Damien Priest, or you can go to continue to push Damien Priest and Sheamus, or you can do this three-way, because Sheamus got to argue. He actually got a case that he deserved a rematch because it was done by a roll-up. He didn't, win fair and square. But I mean, he could go either way. I just wish that Damien Priest would have just hit his finisher on him, since he was kind of already distracted, and then call it a day. And then, but I mean, I don't know what they're gonna go with this. I think they just gonna fucking run the rematch a couple weeks in a row. He probably 1 week. He probably Monday he'll probably face Jeff Hardy for the title. Retain the next week, face Sheamus again, retain. Week after that, they cut a promo talk about it was unfair, then the next person come out and say it was unfair for them. Then Damien Priest come out, and then they set up another triple threat. That's how it's gonna go. I guarantee you.
So what did you grade it? B, A, B plus?
I give it a B. Because there was some moments that was I give it a C plus.
C plus?
Yeah, I give it a C plus. I would say there was some moments that had me thinking Jeff Hardy was gonna win, but overall for the match, it was a C plus. I ain't really cool with the ending. I think the ending, like I said, if he would have just hit his finisher and then boom, that would have made the match better. just because he won from a roll up, it kind of degrade everything y'all just did to this point.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a solid B. I actually thoroughly enjoyed the match. Jeff Hardy, I feel like Jeff Hardy worked really well in the storyline with these two, as the smaller guy amongst the two hard hitters, bigger than him. I thought he fared fairly well. I love the swanton to break up the pinfall on Damien Priest. Like, that was a great spot. They had a lot of good spots. I'm like you, I don't like the ending, and I don't like the botch where Damien Priest was going for Hit the Reckoning, and it was supposed to be reversed into a twist of fate, but then they fall, and Corey Graves is saying, "Oh, he's trying to lock in a Dragon Sleeper." Like, no, bro, call it how you see it. He fell. He fell. That was supposed to be a twist of fate, but bro fell. Like, be real, bro. Be real. We are not stupid.
Who's to blame?
Honestly, I think both of them just lost their footing. And you got to think, Damien Priest is bigger than Jeff Hardy. So I think when Jeff Hardy was going to grab, he just got Damien Priest's just weight was too much. And they just fell back. And, you know, it's not one of those bad type of botches. It's just like, you know, we were just going a little bit too fast for the spot.
Yeah, no events. He probably gonna job Jeff out for the next couple of weeks because of that.
Probably. It was a good 3-week run for it. I thought he was gonna get the US title off of it too. Glad I went with Damien Priest, but my heart was screaming Jeff Hardy, and they popped me a couple of times.
Yeah. But now we got the co-main event of the evening. We got Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's the SmackDown Women's titles. Now, I'm not gonna lie. This match, you can kind of tell that Becky been off for a while. And I kind of think that's where they was going with this too. Like, you know, they put the belt on Becky because, you know, the hype was for her, was so real. But I think they was just going to put the belt on her just to take it right back off. And they was going to tell the story that, you know, she wrestled. But I mean, throughout the whole match, to me, Bianca, she had this match won. This match was won. She was damn near about to end it with the KOD until Sasha Banks came in and interfered. But it kind of make it seem like, you know, if you go back to SummerSlam, you would think, They said Becky been ready for a few weeks, right? So you go back to SummerSlam and it make you think, all right, CM Punk debuted. All right, WWE, it's basically kind of confirming without confirming that WWE only put this belt on Becky because of CM Punk. It makes sense now because he just debuted for AEW. She been ready. She been there on every show, just waiting for y'all to call her. But now y'all pulled this ticket on SummerSlam for her to win the belt in 26 seconds, thinking that the fans gonna be over her, thinking that it's gonna get over, and basically silence of what just happened that past Wednesday or Friday when he debuted. So fast forward to now on Extreme Rules, you got Sasha Banks coming back. It kind of don't add up, but then it makes sense if you think about, you know, the WWE panic, because she came back and she could have just waited till after the match was over till Bianca won, then came out and did her attack and be like, you know, now we can run what we had. I can get my rematch against you, because you think about it, she don't want what would be her beef with Becky other than you took my spot. She really ain't got none. The only beef that she has that makes sense is with Bianca, because she took the belt off of her. What other way? Like if that's the case, if y'all had this beef and this rivalry, I would want to take the belt off of Becky. I want to take the belt off of the person who took the belt off of me. So I mean, yeah, I mean that it makes sense that way, but it just tells you that WWE did panic. The belt wasn't supposed to go on Becky. It was supposed to be a Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair part 2. Bianca was gonna win that SummerSlam, and then they was probably gonna set up the Becky, you know, leading up into fucking Survivor Series, probably. It makes sense that way. But now it really kind of confirms that they did panic, because none of this encounter and shit makes sense. And like I said, if you think about it, tell the story from SummerSlam to now, it don't make sense. Why are you coming out and stuff? She attacked Becky for what? Like, if you was gonna attack now this is just gonna lead up into 3 women fighting for the title. Why 3 women every fucking title? Everybody who has a fucking title, it's always 3 women fighting for 1 title. It's always that. Why can't y'all tell a proper story of, you know, a come up and shit? It's always the same shit. It don't matter who's the champion. We always get the same shit. When it comes to the women's tag team titles, no matter who's the champion, you always get the same shit. Y'all become champion, y'all disappear from TV for a few weeks, come back, lose, compete in single matches, lose those, compete in tag matches, lose those. Then the tag team title shot come on the line. Y'all win that, retain your title. Then y'all go on a losing streak again till your title's on the line again. It's always the same. And when it comes to the women's shit, it's easy to fucking call out because it's always the same shit. It lets you know they don't give a fuck about it. That's why we say give women wrestling a chance, because they sure not giving them a chance. It don't make no sense to me. But the match, don't look none of that stuff I said take away from the match. The match was still good. The match is an A. The match is still good. But it's just the aftermath don't make sense.
So I'm giving this match a B- because of the ending. Like you, I had the same fucking thoughts going to my head. Makes no sense. And I'm not even talking about the CM Punk. I'm leaving CM Punk out of it, because we know that's the main reason. But we need to go deeper than that, because that's over there, and you don't have to worry about them, because you shouldn't be worried about them, because the CEO says that they're just a t-shirt company and they're not really a threat. So let's not even involve them. You needed a shock factor, so you bring Becky Lynch back. Proceed to put the belt on her, squashing Bianca Belair in 26 seconds to run the rematch at the horror show at Extreme Rules, because overall that's what the pay-per-view was, a horror show.
It was just rules.
Regular Rules. The horror show at Regular Rules. That sounds like the name, right?
Yes. That's
the horror show. The horror show at Regular Rules. You then proceed to bring back Sasha Banks for absolutely no fucking reason. Because if you were going to bring Sasha Banks back, this seems like a great time to pull the switch. But now you've already booked yourself into a corner, because if you pull the switch, then we're all going to ask the fucking question that's been on the fucking table since day one that nobody in WWE wants to fucking answer. Why did you take the belt off Bianca in the first place? Why did you do it? I'm even asking that question now. The match, Becky Lynch doesn't look there. I'm starting to not believe it. That ring rust is there. Her cardio's not there. Cardio was not there. I think Becky Lynch spent a decent amount of this match running. I did like the interaction she had with Michael Cole, though.
Yeah,
that interaction was good.
Yeah, I meant to say that too. That was funny, because that was, because I I always would say that too. Like, how do you know what they saying? But it was funny that she was right there, and what he said, and she just like, those moments like that is what makes me love pro wrestling, because I hate sometimes where they be making it seem like you ain't supposed to hear the commentary desk and stuff like that. Like, nah, they say some bull. They ain't true. I'm gonna correct them. Like, that's what it was. She was like, hey, you don't know what I'm thinking. Don't say that. I was not saying that. That was funny. That was funny. That was one of the better parts in the match. I thought they teased the Disarmer too much. Like, that's won Becky Lynch titles. So why would we tease it that much? And I get it, bro. Once you get another finisher, your past finisher just gets put to the wayside as a teaser, like the bro kick. They added the pump knee as the teaser. That's kind of like his secondary finish. I've seen him win moves off the pump knee. But why do we have to tease the Disarmer so much? She's won championships off that move. And then
I like that. I was really loving the setup into the KOD, and then I'm thinking like, well, that's a great way to put the belt back on Bianca. She powers out of the disarmor, and then hits the KOD. That's a great way. And then it doesn't make Becky Lynch look bad, because it just proves that what Bianca said was true. She was ready this time. But instead, you would much rather do a DQ finish and then have Sasha Banks attack Becky Lynch. Like, why do you have a problem with Becky Lynch? Because you got sick and weren't able to be there and they needed a replacement for you? So you're mad at Becky Lynch because she just stepped up and took an opportunity? Does that make sense?
That's why I was like, none of this stuff makes sense at all.
None of it makes sense. And then it's like you booked yourself into a corner, because if you put this belt on Sasha, I'm still going to ask, well, why didn't Bianca just win at Extreme Rules? Or, I'm sorry, the horror show at Regular Rules? Why didn't she win there? If you put it back on Bianca Belair, I'm asking the question, well, why the fuck did you take it off of her in the first place? Why did the bullshit happen at SummerSlam in 26 seconds?
WWE love booking themselves into a fucking corner.
Yeah, and then if you keep it on Becky Lynch, which is the less of the three evils, the question still is, then why the fuck did you bring Sasha back for? Like, either way, you booked yourself into a corner. I have questions regardless of who wins. Some questions are worse than the others, but I still have questions nonetheless. Mm-hmm. But like Salamander said, don't let my criticisms take away from the match. Solid match. B- for me. I think you gave it an A. B-. Solid match. Just a shitty ending. A shitty ending that didn't have to happen. Or it could have happened, but we could have had a different outcome to the match.
Exactly. Let me take a deep breath. Now we finally at the part of the pay-per-view that was...
Oh, my bad. Sorry to cut you off. Did you see the commercials come in during the Alexa Bliss entrance like an RKO?
Yes.
Did you see them cut my Tribal Chiefs entrance?
Yes, I was gonna say about this one too. Yes, it was like it was on TV, like regular TV stuff.
Yeah.
When the pay-per-view first came on, I heard French and then I heard Spanish.
I did too.
Like they was talking over each other and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. For this whole, deal to go on with Peacock, it seemed like WWE was way better with just the network.
All the time, bro. You can't even rewind live television. I mean, you can't rewind a live program on Peacock.
That's horrible. You gotta rely on the replays, hoping that they will show it, but they probably won't.
I mean, they show the replays. I don't know how long it is until they show it.
They want to show.
Yeah. They
show you what they want you to see. But now we got the bullshit of the show. We have go ahead, take it, KB.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your main event. The only Extreme Rules show at the horror show at WWE Regular Rules. The match is for one fall. No time limit, of course. And it is for the WWE Universal Championship. The challenger, the Demon, Finn Balor, versus my Tribal Chief, the head of the table, the WWE Universal Champion, Roman Reigns.
So now we got, first of all, let's just get the elephant out the room. God turned heel. Last time we seen God on WWE television was in 2006 with Shawn Michaels. What was the tag team match? Shawn Michaels versus the McMahons. And you just see, it takes the words out of my mouth. I was really hoping for Finn Balor to win, but I mean, there was plenty of moments that it seemed like he was gonna win. But like I said, plenty of times before, KB, and no matter what you can say, every time when the belt is important, except for that one time with Daniel Bryan, but every time when it's an important moment that really defined his title reign, he never wins cleanly. He always has some type of interference. His cousins always come in for the win. If his cousins never came in, he wouldn't have kicked out the coup de grace. He wouldn't have. He wouldn't escape that. None of this stuff would even happen right now. He would have been dethroned. Every time. And I would say the only time that it did in that triple threat. Yeah, they did get involved. So yeah, just besides that one time with Daniel Bryan where he made Daniel Bryan quit. Other than that, he always had help. And he only did that by himself because he a bully. He bigger than Daniel Bryan.
He didn't have help in the Rey Mysterio match either.
But he a bully. He be cool with little people. He like, all right, I'm cool. I don't need y'all, cuz. But when it's people that he know, they come.
Let's address the elephant in the room first. Seeing how that match ended, we were just talking a little bit off before we actually started shooting. How great would that ending have been for a Miro match?
It would have been perfect. It fits along with his whole gimmick. But like I said, when it gets to the point where he get dethroned, he would have no choice. But they would have no choice but to do his gimmick to the point where he basically turned his back on God because of how they booked it to this point. But it do seem like that. It seems like somebody was highly inspired by some type of AEW content. Because why else would you do this? I mean, the other thing, that Finn Balor's is his alter ego is a demon. God don't like demons though, but it's just the thing of it being why. I mean, Finn Balor popped up as a demon the last 2 weeks in a row. Why ain't shit happens then? Why on the pay-per-view happen? I mean, that just brings my question to why? Why now? Why do something like that now?
I can answer that for you. This was the greatest heel turn since Eddie Guerrero in 04-05. This heel turn was absolutely fantastic. There's a verse in the good book, Salamander says, he may not come when you want him, but he'll be there right on time. I'm sorry, that's not a verse. That's actually a quote, a lyric from a song. I'm sorry, I said that backwards. It's a lyric from a song. He may not come when you want him, but he'll be there right on time. So yes, the demon showed up 2 weeks, but God decided to smite him down on Extreme Rules. It was absolutely fantastic to just see that turnbuckle collapse. But Salamander, we need to address the other thing. The demon Finn Balor reviving himself, splashing around outside like a magic carpet.
You want to know what my response was when I seen that?
Was it get this shit the fuck off my television? Because that's what I was thinking.
Nah, they didn't even come across my head. I was just sitting there chilling, watching the match, enjoying it. Especially after that spear through the barricade. And I was like, oh, okay. So this had me hype at this moment. And then I seen the lights go red and I heard the doo-doo. And then he basically was flopping like a fish. And I bust out laughing. I'm like, what the fuck is this goofy shit? And then he just kept going. Then I was just laughing. I think it would have fit better with, this tape that had to play the now I wouldn't even play the heartbeat. It would have fit better if they would have just started with the and then the beat started. Like the song started, like the point, with the demon song after the heartbeat, when the beat started to slowly go in. I think it would have fit better if it started off like that. Like you kind of heard it, like you hear it a little bit, and you kind of thinking like, is that his music? And then it kind of like it's fading in. You hear it fading in, and then it get louder and louder. Then once we get to that, when he finally comes and rise up before he when he be on the ground, and once he stands up all the way, once we get to that point in the music, that's when you see him standing up. Then the music cuts off, but you can keep the red lights, and then boom. That's how they should have did it versus the heartbeat and the fish flop.
That shit was Get this shit the fuck off my television. I was laughing, but it was not laughter of joy. I can't believe. Go ahead.
I was laughing because it was like, it was just funny because it's like, damn, like this is wrestling.
They overbooked this shit.
This would be if I really try to get somebody to watch wrestling and then this shit get on there. I'll be looking at them like, don't like. I know, I understand, but it comes with the property. It comes with the property.
Listen,
really like this is wrestling.
Listen, I got a problem with the geeks in the comments section saying, Roman's about to lose his title, KB. Finn's in for the win, KB. Oh, he's not going to be able to stop the demon, KB. Salamander, Roman Reigns is on a godlike run. Do you see him losing anytime soon?
Yes. Once with his cousins, do not get involved.
Of course you do. Anyway, wrong answer. You failed. Guys, geeks in the comments section who think Roman Reigns is going to lose anytime soon. He will not lose to Brock Lesnar. He will not lose to Big E. He won't be losing till sometime after WrestleMania next year. So you geeks who love to say that the tribal chief is going to lose, you included, Salamander, you fucking mark. The tribal chief will not be losing. So you geeks who said Finn's in for the win, or KB, the demon's gonna be Roman Reigns. I stand here asking you, why in the hell did you let that thought cross your mind?
So one quick question.
Yes.
Who do you see dethroning Roman Reigns?
Walter.
Yeah, you have been saying that for a while.
He's the only guy who can match Roman Reigns' physicality and actually make it look believable. I would tell you Adam Cole if they booked him right, but hey, they wanted him to be a manager. I tell you Keith Lee, but they don't want Keith Lee jumping over the ropes like a cruiserweight. I tell you Drew McIntyre, but we don't want Drew McIntyre anywhere close to a world title.
I know who.
The Almighty. No.
Yes. If he retains against Brock Lesnar, I think there's a high chance that Bobby might get drafted to SmackDown, and then they might do that, or he might drop the title to Brock, and then he get drafted to SmackDown, and they can set up a Bobby versus Brock.
He's not dropping the belt to Brock Lesnar. It's not happening. It's in Crown Jewel. It's in Crown Jewel. You know, I can only think of 2 times a title has changed, a world title has changed in Crown Jewel. You want to know who they both involved?
Who?
Take a guess. No longer with the company.
You said dropping the title?
No, the only time the title has changed hands in Saudi Arabia has only happened with the superstar on
Bray Wyatt.
Exactly. He lost it to Goldberg in Saudi. He won it from Seth in Saudi.
Yeah.
That ain't happening.
And Saudi Arabia ain't nothing but a big ass house show. Anyway.
Exactly.
But I have a couple of announcements before we head up out of here. For one, Full Gear, the location for Full Gear has been AEW Full Gear has been announced. Full Gear was originally scheduled to premiere on Saturday, November 6th, but the date was changed due to UFC 268 pay-per-view. And Full Gear is taking place at the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And that will take place Saturday, November 13th. Tickets will start selling this Friday. And they are starting at $29. Ain't a bad price.
No, not at all.
Another one. Royal Rumble 2022 has been announced. It is going to be at St. Louis. St. Louis. That might be, I mean, that's a good location, but who's you think is like the favorites to come out on the men's and women's side right now?
For the men, I'm going to go. Let's see. For the men, honestly, I'm gonna go Riddle. I can see Riddle getting a huge push. I can honestly see a Riddle and whoever is the champion going into next year's WrestleMania on the Raw side. For the woman, like you said earlier, I'm gonna go Liv Morgan. We get Liv Morgan a Royal Rumble win.
I'm gonna go Liv Morgan, but I'm gonna go with the Almighty winning the men's. One more very special announcement. You guys, I would like to say this is the last episode for right now. We will be going under construction, so the next episode you will get of the podcast, it will be in a new format. So everyone just stay tuned. This is just the beginning of everything. We have bigger and greater things to present to you guys. And once again, thank you all for the over 1,000 subscribers. Thank you all for those who continue to come back and watch us on a daily basis. Once again, I go by the name of Camille Salamander and my co-host, Kevin Mark, and we will see you soon on the next one.
I started with nothing and came out a king. I've been the one that's been ballin' for rings. It's been me and my team and we chasing the green. My team be the shit, we ain't ballin' for free. My team be the shit, we ain't ballin' for free.